say, this is an adapted tour that I have given once before, so I hope none of you, I guess none of you probably saw it last time. What I noticed last time was it was way too long, so I slimmed it down a little bit this time, hopefully for you it'll be better. My name's Caroline Osborne, although on Twitter, if any of you are on Twitter, I'm known as Cazzy2, unfortunately. I have a blog address as well, which is there, and an email address if you'd like to use it, and I'm on Facebook, which I don't use very much, I have to say, but I am on Facebook. I have a page on Facebook as well. I've been teaching for 20 years now, although I did spend some time in mainstream school, but for the last 14 years I have taught behavioural children of one variety or another, so children with some form of behavioural issues. For a long time I worked exclusively, looked after kids who had the associated problems with that, and then since then I'm working, shall I say, with children who are all permanently excluded from mainstream school. So they've all got some kind of behavioural issue. Now, I'm not saying this makes me an expert. I did say to the lady earlier who does the behaviour here that anything I say today, I'm not claiming to be the oracle on this subject. I'm just talking, there's nothing scientific behind any of it. It's just stuff that over the last 20 odd years has worked for me. And I know that doesn't necessarily mean it will work for everybody, but it may. You may find some of it useful. Right, so first of all, without going on too much, let's just move this on. Okay, this is a slide I call barriers to success. What I mean here is I'm talking about nationally, you know, not just within a classroom setting, but I'm talking about big issues that are causing perhaps problems with behavioural kids in general. I'm trying to think how I could say this last night, and I can't seem to put it the way I want to put it, but I'm talking about huge issues really that we could do with addressing, and hopefully at the end I'll come and talk about some possible solutions at the end. Okay, so barriers to success generally are, I think, a lack of provision. When you've got, I think generally, nationally, there is a problem with behavioural settings in general. There's a shortage of behavioural settings. We have pupil referral units, but they tend to be short-term provision. There are some EBD schools, but I'll talk about those in a minute. They also have issues associated with them. But generally speaking, there isn't that much provision. We have terrible trouble trying to move our young people from our crew onto behavioural long-term provision because there just aren't the places. Then there's this one, quality of internal inclusion units. Now I'll come on a bit more, I'll talk about this in a bit more detail, but internal inclusion units are a relatively new thing, relatively new, and the quality of them can vary. I've seen some excellent internal inclusion units, but I've also seen some dreadful ones where it was just somewhere to put the kids, really, somewhere to move the kids. Then the issues with EBD provision are, there are issues in general, which you see in PRUs and you also see in children's homes, with putting groups of like-minded individuals together. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but when you have large groups of like-minded individuals, it's a bit of a recipe for trouble. There is one in the south of Birmingham, which I won't name, which is quite honestly a very, very scary place to be. Actually, the only time my car ever got broken into was at this place. I mean, not that that matters. I mean, it doesn't necessarily follow that would be the case, but I'm just saying that's what happened. Barriers, parents. Now later on I'll also say that they are a possible solution, but there's no doubt that parents not supporting teachers can be a huge barrier, and also parenting skills in general, can I say, controversially perhaps, can be a barrier. Labels, I've talked about this on my blog. I've had a lot of people arguing with me over this, and that's fine. I understand that some of what I say is controversial. But I have a little bit of an, well, more than a little bit of an issue really with the whole labelling culture which we have these days. If you give a child the label ADHD, which a lot of the young people who come to us have got, then you are giving them, they may have ADHD, or they may not, but you are giving them a reason for their behaviour, and a reason to say, as they do, I can't help it. It's my ADHD. I couldn't help doing that. I couldn't help speaking to you like that because it's my ADHD. Or I haven't had my medication today. And I wonder if sometimes, and I know it's controversial what I'm saying, but I do wonder if sometimes that then means that we don't ever get to improve the behaviour by working on perhaps the true reasons for the behaviour, because we've got this label of ADHD. And then agencies. Now, again, I got into a bit of trouble with my last talk over this. I think it came across as if I was criticising the other agencies, and I don't mean that. What I mean is, often, in order to access other provision or, you know, whatever, you need to work together with other agencies, and sometimes you need to work together with 3 or 4 other agencies. And the logistics of trying to get 3 or 4 other agencies, say CAMS or youth offending or social services, whatever, the logistics of trying to get everybody together, even just to fill in a form, can be a nightmare, and that can hold the whole process up. But it's not to criticise other agencies, it's just to say that it's the logistics of the whole thing. Right, now I know here I'm running over, I can just sense it, so I'll try and then speed a bit. Right, now, last time I mentioned 2 or 3